Hey there, guys. So it was pointed out to me that my first clear on Ravis, where I did my high score, didn't really follow my own little guidelines to use exclusively one element because my, dark team on my first clear actually used Hayo and Aya, which are really fire units, and it used Tyvis, which is really a light unit. So even though it was a dark team, we didn't really use dark damage dealers. So we're going to go back for another dark clear, and this time we're going to stick exclusively to dark units and get a rank 1. Also, at the end of the video, people have been asking, I'll show you a quick turn 1 OTK with a full bonus team against the boss for farming. But let's get in here and do a proper dark clear. Now, as far as wind goes, it's not going so well. I gave it a brief attempt last night, and it was not promising. But I'll play with it some more, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, turn 1, we're going to use Ibarra to just mirage the party, and then bar Darkja. Elespirus can just guard on turn 1, so can Roka and Nelica. Rinoa will use her LB for the throwing in peril. And then Fina will do stop resist. Yeah, we're dropping Melissa and taking Ibarra instead because basically it does the same thing Melissa does, but better. Okay, so this turn we'll use Elespirus to do Hades. We'll also do Sword Splitter and the Dark Field. Fina, before we do this, Nelica will now do in this order, very important. Release from Restraint, which is going to consume the Esper gauge, and then Anima Fist and Smart Block will replenish the Esper gauge. And the reason that's important is so we can also summon the Ashura Field on this turn. Ibarra will do Mirage for the party. Roka can just guard, and Rinoa will do her Magnus to refill her LB gauge. Okay, some more attacks on this turn. And the reason we did all that stuff with Nelica last turn is so that this turn we can get rid of the boss's attack and magic buff right here with Cursed Shackles. That's a perfect dispel. So turn 3 we can now use the LB of Ibarra to put up her buffing. We're going to use, let's see, Elespirus to Dark Amplify herself with a Vision card. We're going to use Dark Fina to imbue the party with Darka. We'll just cast it twice. And then we're going to do the Ramping Amplify on Rinoa. Roka can just guard again. And for this turn, we'll just Needles. One of the attacks will not be Miraged, but not that big a deal. We're going to be totally fine. We'll just Needles for one of them. There we go. Okay, so we're going to be bursting next turn. So Nelica on this turn will triple. We'll do the 150 amp. My Intelligence Can't Be Chained, and Smart Block. That'll be modifier buffs for her. Ibarra will Mirage the party. Before we do that, let's do Elespirus, because her stuff self-damages. We're going to do Shield Splitter, and then, honestly, it doesn't really matter that much what else. We'll just, do whatever. Okay, now Ibarra is going to Mirage the party. We'll do a bigger human killer, and then Sukiyo is the last action. We'll just SLB with Dark Fina. We'll shift Rinoa and then shifted LB her for the mod buff. And then Roka can triple. We'll do, let's see here, amp, whatever, and then I'll show you magic something or other. And okay, we're going to burst next turn. Now, Dark is probably one of the strongest elements for this current Dark Visions or Vision World. So we're going to, thankfully, do relatively high damage. It won't be as good as my, best units ever clear, which was Tyvis, Hayo, etc. But it'll still be pretty good. So we're going to SLB Elespirus. We're going to support chain with Dark Fina. We're going to quad Apocalypse with Rinoa, which is very, very slow, but that's not a problem. We're going to handle it. Roka's going to shift and shift at LB. We will SLB Nelica, and Ibarra will shift at LB. The reason we're going to turn 5 is because my Nelica is only EX1. At EX2, you can go quicker. So we're going to send Rinoa first, and this is like super slow. So we're going to wait like a long time. Then we're going to start support chaining, and we're going to wait again so we can really bridge those Rinoa hits because, oh my lord, they are slow. And I think we got them all. 118 count chain, we got all of Rinoa's hits. So that should be comfortably above 25. We did 32. Yeah, Dark is very strong right now. In large part due to Elespirus. Her buffs were amazing. It took a pretty underwhelming unit to one of the best breakers in the game, and that's really nice. So here's the breakdown. Ibarra, don't forget Ibarra does have a 250 human killer. Rest of the party didn't have that. Nelica, EX1 only, big sad, don't have the STMR, so she's missing like 1500 magic or something, or 1500 attack power. It's pretty extreme, but still did pretty good. Roka, very strong. Elespirus, after her buffs, pretty good. And Rinoa, pretty terrible. But she does fit under Roka's leader skill because she's a evocation unit. So yeah, and there's the clear. That's a very comfortable clear. And again, you can swap out things like Rinoa and all that for the real hard hitters like Aya, Hayo, stuff like that. But here's the gear before we pop over to the farming stage. Base form, just evasion. Shift form, LB damage versus humans. And there we go. Nelica, no STMR, big sad face, but she'll be EX2 someday. Or maybe not, because she's actually not in my shard dungeon, but I'll get off banners at some point. Roka, base form, irrelevant. Shift form, LB damage versus the boss. And there it is. Elespirus, right here. There's the build, some chain speed, and then the dark card. Fina is our provoker, passive provoke. A lot of Esper fill on the support units, as you can see. To get those Esper gauges filled up. Extreme Nova, no card, because who cares. And then Rinoa, base form, just some Esper fill, 1,000 needles. And then shift form, we're dual wielding. You can go double hand. Either way is fine. But there's the build. And there it is. Now let's pop over to a light party, and I will show you my turn 1 OTK. With full bonus units, using an EX1 Noctis. This also works with EX0 Noctis. We're only using the base form. So what we're going to do, Nyx is going to just use Lightbreaker, the materia. Lunafreya, or anyone really, will just use Relieving Song. That's a 300 stat buff. Anyone can support chain. We're going to use Cobalt Noctis and Arden. We're using them with quad attack, so they're using dual-wielded, multi-element weapons, and their normal attack is Bolting Strike if they're using clothing. So that plus quad attack. Same thing for Arden. Quad attack with Poppy's Paintbrush. And then we're going to True King Noctis is going to quintuple cast. We're going to Ruler's Might, Morale of the Warrior, Light of the Mystic, Bloodlust of the Conqueror for the Human Killer, and then we're going to cap with Point Blank. So we're going to send Nyx, Lunafreya, wait, send Noctis, wait, then send our quad bolting strikers, and boom, there is our turn 1 clear. You can also use things like Irene's Ring and an Esper to support chain, etc. The boss has 600,000 and we did 762, so we overkill, or 600 million. So we overkilled by 162 million with an EX1 Noctis. EX0 will still be totally fine to OTK it. If you don't have Noctis, then instead of trying to just struggle bus and make a team of like unbuffed Lunafreya, skipped Crowned, Arden, and all that, to try to make them work, I would recommend you literally just drop a support unit and bring a carry. Bring Hayo, bring Richt, bring someone to turn 1 OTK, and don't stress yourself out trying to turn 1 OTK it with a full bonus party if you don't have a Noctis, because it'll just be miserable and not fun. And even if it's possible, it might be possible, I have no idea, it's not worth the headache. Just use an extra 20 energy pots and just save yourself the stress. But here's the Noctis we're using. We're not using any Clash of Wills gear because I don't want the auto casting. It's a farming party. You want to go as quick as possible. Obviously, if you need more damage, give him all the Clash of Wills gear. His damage will go up significantly from like an extra 3,000 attack power. But, we didn't need it. So there it is. And the rest of the party doesn't really matter. Like I said, shift form, using their STMR, and then dual wielding multi-element with Yeti style. Same thing over here, all 8 elements. Just makes chaining easier. Lunafreya, just a relieving song. Nyx, just a light breaker materia. And Regis, nothing. Didn't do anything. And there's a turn 1 OTK. Now, as far as the wind clear, I will still work on it. Don't know if it'll happen, but we'll try. See you in a bit.